Welcome to today's edition of Drive Time with David and Dave. Often irreverent, sometimes informative, and occasionally brilliant, Morningstar's finest tackle the comedic questions of the day, which no one else even dares to ask. David Vallier and Dave Yarnes come to you each week from their studio in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Now, if you've missed a portion of today's broadcast or would like to recommend it to a friend, you can hear this program at any time on the Drive Time with David and Dave host page at talknetworkradio.com. Well, now here are David and Dave with today's show.
All right. Well, we're back here with Drive Time with David and Dave, and I am David Vallier, and I'm with
Dave Yarnes.
Yeah. What you got for us today, Dave?
Hey, man, we're in Studio 8 here at Morningstar. I shouldn't say man. I think it came from my generation. Hey, man, how you doing? But, you know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around.
Children of all ages.
We're from Studio 8 in Fort Mill, and I'll tell you, it has been hot weather here.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I can't stand it. I'm just going to be honest.
Louisiana, because north is, we've got basically two seasons in Buffalo, New York.
Right.
We've got winter and July.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
What do you got where you're from?
Oh, gosh.
Louisiana.
Louisiana, it's pretty much from, I would say probably March till, December. It feels like you just stepped out of a hot shower. Every single day.
That real sticky.
It's disgusting. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Best food, worst weather, in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, whoever invented beignets should get a pass, like, right into the pearly gates. Like, I didn't understand, because I'm thinking, in New York, you would typically have donuts and coffee. That's a big thing. Especially, I'm not singling anybody out that works for the law enforcement.
Right.
It's a big deal, coffee and donuts. But beignet, what in the world?
Beignets are the best. Have you've had them in New Orleans? Have you?
I had them at that one famous place.
Cafe
I had to wait wait forever to get in. It was just like something you needed to do.
I have been there many, many times. It's the best. I mean, it's pretty much powdered sugar with donuts.
So there is no nutritional value whatsoever.
Yeah.
Zero. As a matter of fact, it's probably anti-nutrient.
Yeah, it's like deep fried, like just death, but it's so good.
But I think there's, fun food and fellowship. I saw this sign the other, at a church one time, man, and there wasn't any of them. It really wasn't much fun. They tried to give me some food that I didn't want to eat.
I know what you mean.
Was
yes.
Mostly like, I was staring at each other and, quizzing everybody on Bible verses or something.
They're like, tell me what Psalms 52 says right now. You're like, something about David. Doing something, trusting God, maybe not.
He's either sitting or he's like really dancing and happy or someone in there.
I know what you mean.
I've got a couple of things, and I don't know how well this is going to translate in a podcast. I just find this stuff humorous. And listen, you can write Rick and tell him about how much you love us here, but we want you to know that there is a life side, really. Yep. I mean, because I don't know what I thought when I first met pastors and church leaders, like, do they just live at the church?
Right.
I mean,
well, some do. I mean, some honestly do. I remember my pastor growing up. I felt like he never left.
He just 24/7.
24/7. Just kind of at the same time, like, what are you doing?
So if you told him a joke, would it totally go over his head? He would be like,
yes. Unless you were just speaking like, you're like, oh, you really Jonah'd that one. Like, you'd have to like scripture reference something. But besides that, if I told him like a normal joke, no, he just wouldn't get it. Yeah.
3 guys walk into a bar. The 4th one ducked. He'd be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We can have the intercessors go
pretty much.
Pray for him.
He's like, oh man, that really sounds awful. What was he doing in the bar in the first place?
If he would have known, he would have been in there.
Right.
Well, I think there's a little bit of humor. We love to get this. So here's what I've got today. Crazy things that are found in actual church bulletins.
Oh, I can't wait.
This is not made up stuff. Yeah. These are actual, I didn't go right to the source, but I did my best.
Right.
I'm just going to start out with one that's just kind of zany. I love this one. So these are in actual church bulletins. Somebody wrote them. A lot of them are like crazy coincidental misspellings, but this one, I just love this one. This being Easter Sunday, we will ask Mrs. Lewis to come forward and lay an egg on the altar. Now, just not sure. But hopefully it was done tastefully. But
wow, that's amazing.
It's just this one's a great one. Miss Bradford was elected and has accepted Mr. Bradford was elected and accepted the office as the head deacon. We could not find a better man.
That's amazing.
We looked high and low.
Yeah, literally, we could not find anyone. Gosh, that's incredible. Who writes these things? And are there no proofreaders in churches?
Well, I grew up I shouldn't say grew up. I didn't grow up in church. I was a ne'er-do-well, a rascal, full of chicanery and tomfoolery and impish behavior. But when I did go to church, this one was actually typed out, and then they would copy it.
Right.
So did you have those like back in the day?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, before you had like a word processor, if you typed that up and you made a mistake, I'm going on, man. I'm not going to start over.
Like, they're just going to have to take it.
They're just going to have to take it.
We had those, or we had like, I think we even had some handwritten ones in my church, but that was like way back in the day. Like, and I remember we did.
That's like Columbus at that point.
Like we did some transparency announcements. You remember that? So not only did we do the worship stuff, if the announcements were on, there was like handwritten transparencies.
Oh, the overhead.
Yeah. I mean, we were in Louisiana.
I remember the overhead because like for a while there, it was like hot technology.
Oh yeah. And like, we're up there singing like, and it's just like like chicken scratch, and we're just trying to follow along. We're like, here I am to what?
What about like, remember there was a guy that was the transparency was their gig.
Oh, that used to be my gig.
No way.
I'm not kidding.
Really?
When I was a kid, I was on the transparency rotation, and I took it seriously.
First of all, you got to make sure they're filed right. Now, do they give you a list ahead of time? Like,
yeah, they give a list and it's in order, and like you got to know the rhythm. So it's like you're like 1, 2, 3, and switch. 1, 2, 3, switch, pull. So rotate. And then, like
I could just see the tryouts for the guy that does a transparency.
Like
all right, I want y'all to form a line up here on 3, 1 and 2, and switch and back, and 3 and 4. And
they're like, Johnny, you're out. You missed it. You missed the transition. I mean, it was a real art. It was a real art. It really was.
I'll bet it was. Did you do the thing where you half slid one up?
Yes.
Oh, the half slide.
That way. I mean, I had all kinds of different techniques. I'm not kidding. I really, I like had a lot of pride in what I did.
Well, anything worth doing is worth doing well. And quite frankly, it's kind of like the sound guy.
Right.
Like nobody notices until something goes wrong, and every head will turn. It is the loneliest profession.
Right.
Because darn well it was one of the musicians did something, bit their microphone. But the squeal comes out, every head turns.
Right.
With that kind of like glaring kind of.
You see, in my church, we used to do like, hymnals. So.
Oh yeah.
And those things got like 12 verses. So I get confused at times. So like, on the 10th verse, I'm like, oh God, which one is it? Just take a chance, put it on there.
Yeah, because you could flip them upside down too, right? Did you ever do that? Like, oh my God, that's upside down. I can turn it back, right?
It all happened. It all, bad.
I remember those. I actually, in one church, I had a slide projector with these tiny little slides I had made. And so it was like, ka-cheek, here I am. Ka-cheek, worship, ka-cheek, but you could hear it in the back.
That's amazing.
These slides. Thank the Lord for like whatever we have now. But I actually kind of miss the hymnal, and I'll tell you the thing that I missed. Like this is just in the little church that I was first introduced to the hymnal. Like the guy next to me would sing the bass line, and I would learn that because my voice is, manly and deeper at times.
Right.
So I would, and I thought that was cool because then I kind of learned to read music.
Yeah.
From like reading the bass line, and you had this like ad hoc little harmony going because the lady next to us was singing the melody.
Right.
That's a cool thing, though.
It was cool. I actually really enjoyed the hymnals too. I did. Like they're like, turn to page 85. Here we go. And then the music would, and everyone's singing.
And did you like sing a certain part, or did you just sing the melody?
Well, I mean, as a singer, I always like singing the harmonies. But we just kind of everyone sang in unison. Yeah. I found it boring, but also like the older I got, I was like, this is cool.
And some of the words, I mean, you're like, who
awesome.
writes that now?
Yeah. I think hymnal words are really cool. Like,
they really
I don't know what half of them mean, but they're really great.
Yeah. Yeah, they are really great. And they give you that feeling of old timey religion.
Yeah. You're like,
I like that. Back in the day.
Right.
When we had a religion. Well, let me keep going on a couple of these. Associate minister unveiled the church's new tithing campaign. The slogan last Sunday. So they're trying to up the tithes. I upped my pledge, up yours. So I don't know how effective that was. Hilarious. And these are just some like minimal ones, we won't go to them. But this one, the guy wrote, he wanted to write, thank you, dear friends. And he said, thank you, dead friends. So that was nice of him,
Very nice.
People are in the cloud of witnesses. They're like, hey man,
the
I
patron
appreciate
saints
that.
of the church.
Shout
Yes.
out. I wonder if he took like in a gangster movie, like a little bit of the communion wine and dumps them on the floor.
Thank you, dead friends.
He dumps a little bit on, drops the mic, and he's out.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Steve, who once again worked hard to clean the pastor off the basement floor. Now, it must have been plaster. But I can just imagine if that's my first, your first week there, some heathen guy with his wife, and he's like, I knew it. Yeah. I looked at him. He looked like a drunkard the first time I seen him.
He must have passed out Saturday night before he was. That's hilarious.
And thank the Lord they put it in the bulletin. The over 60s choir will be disbanded for the summer with the thanks of the entire church.
Thank God.
That would be great. Like, but you ever get the backhanded, because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're, thank you for just laughing with us. But, if you're in, I don't want to say sometimes you're in the flow of services as much as you are, as much as, I am, as I'm traveling. You get to see different things and stuff. We've talked about it before and kind of made light of things. But do you ever get the backhanded compliment, like where they're slamming you?
Oh, yes.
But they want to make it Christianese. Like, well, now, Dave, that their song was... That was interesting.
Yeah. Oh no, the ones that are great are, oh yeah, that worship set was something special. And I'm like, But you see, Dave, I don't have the best reactions to that though. Yeah. I'll be like, I try to dig. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I like corner them, and they usually get shocked by it. I'm like, no, please tell me, and stare them right in the eye. And
because you're that guy. It doesn't bother you. So
I'm like, no. I'm like, come on, tell me what you really think.
Yeah.
And then they get uncomfortable, and then
See, no, I try to do like the New York sardonic, sarcastic, and they're like, Dave, that message you preached was interesting, and I go, much like that dress you have on.
Yes.
So I kind of like deflect it like a little ninja.
I like it.
Yeah. So,
that's awesome.
This was still going through, ladies and gentlemen. These were actually taken out of church bulletins. Thank you, Steve, who once, we read that one. Remember in prayer the many who are sick of our church and community. And it didn't say in. You just pray for them. They are sick of our church. They're sick of our community. There's nothing we can do about it. Just pray for them.
That would be great if they listed the names.
Attend and you will hear an excellent speaker heave a healthy lunch. I just recoil from that.
Oh my gosh.
This is a great one. A cookbook is being compiled by the ladies of the church, which sounds cool. Like, right. I think we should do that. I love that kind of stuff. Please submit your favorite recipe and a short anecdote for it. And instead of anecdote, like a little story, this was Miss Mabel's sesame. She gave it to me, and she used to use sesame seeds, and I don't. Right. An anecdote. Call 911 right away. Do not induce vomiting. If you should have RAS, here's your short anecdote. Potluck summer. for Sunday at 5 p.m. Prayer and medication to follow, not meditation.
You see, a lot of people show up and like, where's the pills?
Yeah, all the guys